Everyone knows that Halloween just passed. And so the definition of healthy eating is to have M&Ms and not Skittles. But if you really want to eat healthy, you might want to go a little bit further than that. And if you want to live well, you want to go a little further than that. Judy von Arsdale has spent a number of years learning about healthy eating. She has a degree in chemistry and an avid love of learning to make food, not just something to nourish our bellies, but something to make our whole systems a little bit better. So this is our chance. Everybody, I want to hear you put your hands together for Judy von Arsdale with Thyme for herbs and spices.
Can you hear me, Michael?
We can.
Wonderful. How many of you like herbs and or spices? Raise your hand. Herbs are awesome. Spices are awesome. Together, they are fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I present to you Thyme for herbs and spices. We keep all our seasonings in the spice cupboard and not the herb and spice cupboard. So what is the difference between them? It's all about the parts of the plant. Herbs are the fresh or dried leaves of plants. Examples are rosemary, sage, wish I had 10 arms, and thyme. Spices, on the other hand, can come from the root, stem, seed, or fruit, or flower, or bark of a tree or plant. They are usually used dried, though some, such as chili peppers and ginger, can be used both dried and fresh. Examples are cinnamon, chili pepper, and turmeric. By the way, my background is a field of turmeric. A plant, however, can be a host to both herb and spice at the same time. A classic example is cilantro and coriander. Cilantro is its leaves, while coriander is its seeds. Dillweed also produce both leaves that are used as herb and seeds that are used as spices. Humans have added herbs to their food and added herbs and spices to their food for centuries and centuries. Wall painting in Egyptian pyramid built 4,500 years ago showed workers eating garlic and onions for strength. Charlemagne, the first Holy Roman Emperor, was a big believer in the benefits of herbs and spices. In fact, he said, herbs are the friend of physicians and the pride of cooks. More than 2,000 years ago, Hippocrates, Greek physician and father of modern medicine, listed more than 400 medicines made from herbs and spices. In 1563, a Portuguese Jewish physician, herbalist, and naturalist, Garcia de Orta, wrote Colloquies, meaning discussion, on drugs and simples of India. It was the first scientific book on Oriental spices. You can still buy this well-beloved 500-year-old book today. Today, drug-resistant bacteria are a major problem. The medical community is, of course, shy about letting this information out, since it would undercut confidence in the pharmaceutical and medical communities. This problem has to be taken seriously. As they search for newer drugs that bacteria have not yet developed resistance to, perhaps a different approach is called for. With solid historical and scientific evidence for supporting this alternative method, the medicinal use of herbs and spices, time has come. I know Hippocrates quite well. Well, we didn't date, but I studied his work intensely. Besides listing more than 400 medicines made from herbs and spices, Hippocrates also suggested that all disease begins your gastrointestinal or GI tract, though he was incorrect in suggesting that all disease begins in your GI tract. Evidence shows that the bacterial population makeup in your GI tract is linked to allergies and asthma, autism, obesity, diabetes, eczema, heart disease, MS, and even cancer. For example, infection with H. pylori bacteria in your stomach can increase your chance of developing stomach cancer. Your GI tract begins in your mouth, passes through your esophagus, stomach, down to your intestines. Because few bacteria can survive the acidic environment of your stomach for long amounts of time, the further you go down your GI tract, the more microbes you'll find. That said, some bacteria do prefer setting up housekeeping in your stomach, such as H. pylori. Medical people used to think that stomach ulcers were caused by stress. But no. The two common causes of stomach cancer and ulcer are infection with H. pylori, as well as long-term use of ibuprofen. Stress and spicy foods do not, I repeat, do not cause peptic ulcers. However, they can make it worse. Bacteria are among the fastest reproducing organisms in our world, doubling every 4 to 20 minutes. During the summer, bacteria in potato salad at room temperature can increase by a factor of 10 in an hour. Body temperature for these bacteria is 40 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Your body temperature is 98.6, right in the party zone. Bacteria are everywhere, on your skin, in your mouth, ears, and sinuses. Most of them, though, camp out in your GI tract. It's a buffet area to them. Is it any wonder that 70 to 80% of your immune system is in your GI tract? After the bacteria feast from your buffet, they release toxins, which can leak through your gut lining and into your bloodstream, contributing to chronic inflammation. Plants and humans have a lot in common, one of which is our common enemies. The same bacteria and viruses, as well as fungi that attack us, also attack them. Plants fought back and developed an arsenal of potent chemicals. If you eat right, that arsenal can work for you. Substantial research have been conducted worldwide on the antimicrobial, antiparasitic, and anti-cancerous properties in commonly used herbs and spices. Now is pumpkin season. So let me share with you a pumpkin study done in 2014. The pumpkin was cooked and blended to a soupy texture, then divided into 6 50cc samples. One sample without spice was set aside as the control. The others were mixed with 1 teaspoon of dry ground spices, namely cumin, garlic, ginger, and sage. A mixture of 4 spices was added to the one labeled mixed spice. Each sample was then stirred, cooked for another 15 minutes, then kept at room temperature. Here's the result of the study. Now, as you can see, garlic was the clear winner. The one without any spices spoiled in 2 days. The one with mixed spice also spoiled in 2 days. Garlic came out to be the winner. I realized that garlic is not very social. So either get friends who eat garlic or use ginger. It's almost as good. The real question, here's the second part of that study. The real question is not why one bacterium was found in garlic. The real question is why there's more bacteria in ginger than there is in sage. If the pumpkin lasted longer than it did with sage. The reason could be it's not just the amount of bacteria, but also the matter of which bacteria are present. In other words, some bacteria are worse than others. Numerous other studies also support the conclusion that garlic is the champion of spices in preventing food spoilage. All this is due to allicin. Allicin is a compound that is instantaneously formed when you crush it. Now, many people crush garlic with a knife. However, I prefer grinding my garlic in mortar and pestle. This prevents garlic pieces from flying all over my kitchen. In 2015, a team of scientists from the University of Nottingham recreated a 9th century remedy known as bald's eye salve. Equal volumes of garlic, onions, or leeks were crushed together, then mixed with equal volumes of wine and ox bile. They had thought the eye salve might show a small amount of antibiotic activity. But they were absolutely blown away by just how effective this combination of ingredients was. It wiped out 90% of the flesh-eating bacteria, MRSA. Their findings were presented at the National Microbiology Conference that same year. As I mentioned earlier, drug resistance is a growing problem. Biofilms are protective shields, protecting numerous communities of bacteria. Biofilm eradication often requires 100 to 1,000 times higher antibiotic concentrations. Concentrations that can be fatal to humans. Within the body, biofilm may essentially be completely impervious to antibiotics. In 2020, scientists showed biofilm killing was consistently achieved with the Ball's Eye Salve recipe. They also found that leaving out any of the 4 ingredients made it ineffective. In 2011, researchers from the University of Beira Interior in Portugal tested coriander oil produced from the seeds of the cilantro plant against 12 strains of bacteria and found that it killed most and reduced growth in all of them. A solution containing less than 1.6% of the oil was effective in destroying bacterial cells, including Salmonella, E. coli, and the flesh-eating bacteria. This study was published in the Journal of Medical Microbiology. Dr. Fernanda Dominguez, who led the research, said, "Coriander in our kitchen could be a natural alternative to common antibiotics. We envisioned the use of coriander in clinical drugs in the form of lotions, mouth rinses, and even pills to fight drug-resistant bacterial infections that otherwise could not be treated. This would significantly improve people's quality of life." When was the last time you had a toothache? When I had mine a couple years ago, it was like time has stopped. A minute was like an hour. An hour was like an eternity. It can take the dentist a week or 2 before she can see you. Cloves can come to your rescue. Eugenol, the essential oil in cloves, can anesthetize your pain and kill the E. coli, as well as other bacteria that caused both your tooth decay and pain. Before refrigerators and ACs were invented, food spoilage by microbes was a big problem for our ancestors. They learned to use herbs and spices to prevent food poisoning and taught their offspring, this is how you cook a mastodon. Today, the number of drug-resistant bacteria and viruses is, as I've said, growing rapidly. Continuing coming up with more medicines and vaccines is not working. Sometimes the treatment is worse than the disease from all the drugs' nasty side effects. Here's a long list of warnings from using Humira, the second best-selling drug last year. Warning, headaches, upset stomach, backache, sudden loss of hearing, and swelling of throat and tongue. My personal favorite is this. Antidepressants may result in suicidal thoughts and tendencies. Wow, wait a minute. That is why I don't want to be depressed in the first place. What you're saying is that it can make it worse. Here's another one. Warning, my new and improved garlic, now with greater flavor, may result in loss of friends, social stigma, and a completely vampire-free circle of friends. Warning for basil. Why, there's nothing really. Ladies and gentlemen, natural remedies have a lot going for them that drugs simply don't have. Their proven beneficial properties can help where effective drugs haven't yet been developed. Just because nature made it instead of a lab is no reason to think it is any less effective. Natural remedy is a legitimate alternative with a solid historical background and no need for the silly disclaimers and fast-talking salesmen. The word spice means special. Make your food special. When the word about the benefits from using herbs and spices get out, librarians everywhere may want to cross-index herbs and spices under food safety. And spice racks may start appearing in pharmacies. Next time you're at the grocery store, go to the spice aisle. Look for some spices you haven't yet tried. Bring them home. And when you cook, go to your spice rack and choose what will make your food tastier. But more importantly, what will make it healthier? Mr. Toastmaster.